Rise and fight.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another cast of BSL 15 Latin American qualifications. Yesterday, we saw a pretty heavily contested group with Terra, Ghost of Dark, and Yugos. And of those four, only Dark was eliminated. The rest will advance into the round of 12. Today, we're going to have Group B, Dienmax, Perrun, Tech, and Cruzago. And we'll see of these four, I think you'll have one Terran and three Protoss yet again. So heavy Protoss groups from South America. No surprise there. I think the majority of the players there who play at a high level are Protoss. But yeah, definitely we're gonna have a favorite in Tech, and then of the remaining three, I think anyone really can advance to the next round. Yeah, yesterday, I mean, Ghost of Dark was very close to advancing first, and Dienmax was very close to advancing second, and I expect these games to actually be pretty close. Dienmax, Perrun, who I'm not familiar with at all. If someone in the chat maybe could let us know if he has other AKs, maybe a better known nick. And then Tech, of course, from Chile, Cruzago also from Chile, so we're gonna have a Chilean chill match there. See who's the best Protoss. And yeah, as you can see, of the alright, here we go, Dnmx and Perrun. So he actually did play BSL 14. Gilbert, I'm gonna ask who he is, probably has a better idea. And then Dnmx, who's been consistently in the scene since StarCraft Remastered. Look at his 2,900 win rate versus Zerg. That's very impressive. Yeah, it's almost, he's got a 5,000% win rate versus Terran. But yeah, Dienmax, very solid Protoss from Peru. And Perrun, our only Terran in the group. So we're going to have a lot of PvP, a lot of TvP today. And I'm looking up really quickly to see if I can identify this player. Okay, so I think I have an idea who this is. But now he's using Perrun, and he was using Perron last season. So not really helping out on figuring out who this is. But we can see he made it to round of 16 in BSL 14. So that means he advanced at least one round. And Dnmx actually has been in Pro League before, if I recall correctly. He even beat Avi Love in a best of 3. And it looks like we're ready for the first match. We have Overwatch. And we're ready. In the top left corner, we have the red Protoss, Dienmax. And in the bottom right, we have the blue Terran, Perrun. PvP on Overwatch. We saw a lot of this yesterday. Pretty good map for Protoss, but Terran has a punching chance. Third is kind of hard to take. We have a lot of cheeses available for Protoss as well. SOW, I think that's the new South American clan that has a lot of former Soul members. So Dandy, Babo, Dienmax, a few others. not gonna see a gas steal Dnmx. Yesterday we saw Yugox go for the gas steal, but then he got 2 barracks Marine SCV rushed. Gonna go for a barrack scout. Nice SimCity. This was it's funny because this is Overwatch, a 2-player map. It's a foreigner main map, but there's also the ASL Overwatch, which I think was a 4-player map, but no one really knows that map too much. It's not really played anymore. Here we have the probe. You can see the map features. This is bridge right outside the natural. Very narrow, very hard to attack that way. Probe gonna get in. Gonna see barracks about to complete. Gas timing. Ooh, it might actually. It's pretty low HP. Probe can't fight SCV head on, but it does have range to abuse. 3 SCVs on gas. No gas quite yet. Just made right now, or just finished right now from Dienmax. So he actually went core very late. He's gonna make a couple zealots probably before even starting core here. Looking to put on some pressure. This second depot doesn't really SimCity, so that's a curious placement. And the factory going down at around 2:33, so standard timings. Pulling off gas, leaving only 1 to mine there. Why? If you can see, the zealot actually went the long way around, so not letting the Terran know that the zealot is on the way. But he should know with this core timing, something is off here. So let's see if he continues making those Marines. He's already up to 3. If we see a 4, then he definitely a 4th, then he definitely will suspect. And yeah, he already queued it up. He knows something is on the way. Good scouting here by the Terran. Good read on the Protoss build order. Now, is he gonna go Vulture or add-on first here? Vulture right away. No reason to mess around here. And 3 Marines with the SCV will be enough to defend from this one zealot. We have goon range on the way. SCV is going to go in for the rescout. And the probe heading back home. So only 1 zealot made. Not a huge investment. He did delay the core though. And the Vulture is out. Bunker on the way just to play very safe and secure. Add-on on the way. Protoss has a lot of minerals here. I think he's just going to go for an expansion. Also has a lot of gas backed up, so this could potentially be probe heading to the natural. Just going to be a Nexus. Dragoon running by, trying to see if there's a command center on the way. Doesn't see one, but he took a lot of damage there. With tank and mines on the way before the command center, this is definitely looking like an FG potentially, but he also has this Vulture out on the map, which could lay mines across this bridge, get behind the Dragoons even. Protoss has to be careful. They can't be this aggressive with all the Dragoons when there's a Vulture out on the map. Now there's a tank out, and this is a very damaged Dragoon. This is probably going to get picked off. Looks like good reaction from Dienmax. Vulture manages to escape. He's just waiting for mines. He wants to get mines near the Protoss bridge. If he can do that, it becomes an awkward situation for Protoss. And we see Terran, still no command center. So this is very late. It's really pumping out upgrades and units here. Okay, not the best mine placement there. Oh, we actually have a starport, so quick 1 base drop. Now, he's not going to have speed. This is just going to be mines on these Vultures when this gets to the Protoss base. Maybe he'll wait for speed, because you really need speed to avoid Dragoons. And when you go 1 base drop, it's not really important to lay the mines. You really just want to kill as many pros as possible. You're delaying your command center quite significantly. He will have 4 Vultures on, and I think if he takes a roundabout path, he will get to the Protoss base and speed will finish roughly around the same time. But this is a very heavy commitment to get some damage done. And Protoss going up to 3 gate. Should have a robo somewhere. Now, this is always a difficult call to make. Do you leave one vulture at the net, send 3 to the main? You drop all in the main, try to lay mines on that ramp. I like this one vulture move to the front. He's regaining speed. Protoss should be very nervous here. Looks like all 4 vultures will go unload in the main. He's distracting the front. Mines on top of the ramp. There's 1 Dragoon in the main, so Dienmax was at least suspecting some kind of play here. So far, the 3 vultures on the right side, not able to accomplish much of anything. He's gonna go wrap around to the net. Getting 5 probes, potentially 6. All in all, decent damage, but not what he was hoping for. I think he wanted to get a few more kills in the main here. There's still probably something in this dropship, maybe. Maybe 1 vulture. Now, the reason why 1 base drop has to do a lot of damage is because even if you kill a lot of probes, sometimes that's not even enough. Protoss can just take a third, knowing they have this huge army advantage, and Terran can't do anything about it. So, we see triple gate. This is almost a control group of Dragoons. Only have 3 tanks, eBay, and Protoss should feel pretty confident here about taking a third. Even after all that harass, Protoss still has a slight lead in workers. Nothing too bad for the Terran though. I think position is about even. One thing Terran did was keep that dropship alive, so there's still the potential for more drops. Maybe Protoss invests in an earlier than normal forge. I think that observer just missed the dropship. Good Dragoon placement, good pylon robo cybernetic core SimCity, so that vultures can't have free reign in the main. Mine's being laid between the natural and third. He might just get this probe, but I think he's trapped now. What's in this dropship? Is it actually 2 tanks? That would be really okay. He's gonna save the vultures. Cute play there. On location 3rd base from Terran. This seems very risky. The 3rd on this map is quite far away. We don't have any turrets to protect. I think Perrun is just thinking maybe Protoss won't attack because he's going to be occupied dealing with the harassment. Lots of binds have been laid. There's still the dropship alive. And yeah, he's worked himself into a slight worker lead, which is always fantastic for Terran. Protoss tech is quite delayed. Do we have any tanks in position at 3rd? Looks like we have 5 at the natural. 2nd add-on only starting now. There's only turrets here. In fact, Siege 1 isn't even done. This might have been forgotten. This is such a late timing for Siege, but it looks like he is going to get up this ramp. He doesn't have any kind of connective tissue between his natural and his 3rd. He has units at his 9 and his 3rd, but nothing in between. This can be exposed. Units are spread very far apart. Looks like there's 1 tank that's going to be picked off here. SCV transfer heading towards the 3rd base. Looks like a turret gets picked off. I don't know about this moving forward. SCV's in position to repair. Perrun does have the 3rd base, but again, this is very exposed. There's only a few units here. We're going up to science facility, and we're only on 3 factories still. Protoss doesn't have that much though. Only 5 gateways, Citadel. There's no Reavers. There's no higher tech. Cool. Looks like a mine detonation. Getting several Dragoons. I'm a little bit concerned that Protoss doesn't really have much of anything. If Terran can power up, go into macro mode, hit his timings, it can be scary for Protoss, but 3rd isn't saturated quite yet. Protoss taking a 4th. Again, we're seeing the mid-left base taken. The much better 4th is top right because it's way farther away from any kind of push path. Very hard to deal with that base. as Terran. You don't want to put your army in a corner ever. Can add gateways there, but it basically acts like another main. Alright, Terran powering up, going up to 6 factories. Looks like we have +2 on the way, +1 armor. Just started, so 2-1 will be around 1330. Decent timing. He should be around max there. He really needs to transfer SCVs to his third though, and possibly even get the third gas right away. We're way oversaturated here at the natural. And finally, we have a small transfer. The main problem here for Dnmx is his tech timing. We're at 12 minutes, just starting the Stargate and Archives, going up in gateways. But without any kind of Arbiter or Carrier tech to put on pressure, Perrun is pretty relaxed here, just macroing. Vultures trying to move out. As you can see, Protoss has access to this area. Terran kind of wants to connect his armies, and you can make some turrets in a couple locations here. Not a lot, but it makes it harder for Protoss to split your army in half. As you can see, very little army at the natural here. Double forge here for Dienmax. He has defenses at basically all his bases. Finally starting the Arbiter Tribunal, just completed. Still no Arbiters. Looks like a lot of gas just got spent. That should be the first 2 Arbiters. But we're almost at 1330. I think Terran will push out. They're 160 supply, pretty close to max. Just another couple round from those factories. 2 + 2 should be almost done. Looks like we're getting a life range. Laying mines, but Dnmx has actually done a really good job at cleaning out the map. 3 cannons here. Should be enough. This is a lot of zealots. But yeah, this is just gateway army for now. Not really that scary. We're up to 8 factories. And here we go, Terran. It's basically maxed. Is he gonna unsiege and go? He has a good target at the mid-left base. And leaving just 1 tank at the third. What's the tank count? Looks like about 15 tanks. Well, looks like exactly 12. He has a couple more back at home. Looks like he's on the high ground. Protoss has to be careful. There's only Dragoons here. Zealots finally arriving. Can he get a good concave here? Looks like Zealots finally moving in. Tanks not in siege mode. There's actually no mines being laid. Zealots getting right on top of the tanks, but Terran does have the high ground. Dragoon's not really doing that much here. Looks like most of the Zealots bleed off there, and fortunately for Dnmx, he doesn't lose any Dragoons, but that was a favorable trade there for Terran. The lack of siege mode really helped deal with the Zealots without splashing his own units, and now he's just marching across the map. Protoss struggling to keep this army back. Finally sieges up. He's gotten to this bridge, and this is why taking the mid-left base is so risky. But now Protoss has a high ground. Terran not sieging up. Looks like most of the vultures have gone down. There's a rally of units at the Protoss natural. It's all high Templars though. Okay, I'm looking at the mini-map. No 4 for Terran. Lots of high Templars. Terran has to be careful not to clump his units up. That's a nice storm, getting 3 of the tanks. That's another nice storm. Terran fighting from the low ground as well. Huge storm blanketing all of his tanks. He's down to 4 tanks. Just 1 vessel, but doesn't have enough energy. It was used on D-Matrix earlier, and the Terran tank count has been reset. There's only 1 tank here. Dnmx also took a 5th at top right. He didn't lose the mid-left base. We're looking at the rally. It's mostly vultures. We're back up to 5 tanks, but the vultures are not in position here. Like the tanks again. Wide exposed vultures finally arriving, but the Zealots are on top. Another huge storm gets another couple of tanks. There's only one tank left. The Archon taking out the tank. Looks like armies trade, but that's never good for Terran. 1-1 for Protoss. I think +2 weapons is going to be done soon. Terran is on 2-1. +3 is on the way, but you can see Terran base is mined out in the main. Natural should be mining out soon as well. And no fourth in sight for Terran. Looks like he's floating a base to bottom left, but you can see how far that is away. Without map control, it's very hard for Terran to establish that. Meanwhile, Protoss took top right, sending up cannons. That base is basically going to be impossible to kill. We're already up to 3 Arbiters. One has enough for recall. Because Protoss did such a good job with cleaning up those tanks earlier. You can see how small the Terran army looks. Pretty high in supply at 150 before this fight, but you can see it's mostly vultures and easy to push back. Now Terran has no way to take a fort base, and again the army is puny. We do have +3 weapons, but we don't have that much economy left. Even went up to 9 factories, 3 add-ons, which is good, but now we have triple Arbiter, each with a stasis. Some potentially even have 2 stasis. Protoss army upgrades are good. We have a shuttle to jump on tanks. Looks like we're catching the transfer though. Getting several probes there, but I don't think it's gonna matter. Protoss still very healthy economy. He's maxed. Big bank from Dnmx. You have an Arbiter here. What's gonna stasis? Is it even gonna stasis? Looks like this small army has been killed, but it does allow Terran to take bottom left in the meantime. Looks like we have a recall heading towards the main, and there's absolutely no defense. Main or third? Looks like the third is the option, the economy of the Terran. Kind of a small recall, mostly bringing Arbiters, shuttle some Dragoons, but this should be enough damage. Looks like Terran in the meantime is also pushing out to the mid left base. Has a nice minefield and some tanks. With no tanks coming to defend, it's hard to deal with this army. Looks like all the SCVs are going down. Dienmax up to something like 12 gateways. One of the struggles with this map is how do you add more gateways? You can't take another main. So you can see Dienmax not spending his money optimally, but the recall has done so much damage. Perrun is basically not mining here. Even if he kills this base, Protoss still has top right and his own third. So he's gonna re-establish bottom left. Massive transfer to top right, and mid-life base is still not dead. Protoss is still mining. There's a large army at his rally, and it's been recalled into the main. And I think this will do it. We can have High Templars here. As you can see, Terran's money not blinking up. He's stuck at 328. Dealing with the recall. He's trying to push mid left. Looks like most of the probes have been evacuated. This recall will eventually get cleaned up. You can see the Terran just hasn't been mining. Except we're having a recall to defend the space potentially. Command center even goes down, so now the scan count is limited. It's like the Nexus actually did go down, and Terran did establish bottom left. These tanks need to hightail out of here. He needs to play very defensively. The only way he can hold on here is to have everything back at home. But Dnmx is maxed. Terran's only at 100 supply. Units are all over the place, basically. And In guild, we have a huge army. He's gonna have to pull the SCVs. Nice defense here, but Zealots are finally streaming through. Looks like Dnmx is retreating though, but UT even just a couple Zealots getting in is disastrous for Terran. He does hold though, but he lost several SCVs there, down to only 34 workers. Dnmx can potentially even take the mineral only on his side of the map. Somehow transferred all the probes away from the third to the top right. He's gonna try to attack third base from Terran. You can see how thin Terran's defense is. Just one tank and some vultures. Trying to hold on for dear life with D-Matrix. See another tank here. Let Zealots get right on top of the tanks, and that's it. That's GG. Dienmax with the win. Basically won with the push. Like just holding the push, resetting the tank count. Very nice storms to lower the tank count from Terran, and that's 1 point for Dienmax. He's one away from the winners match, and of course, whoever wins their first match automatically advances out of this group. It's just seeding the rest of the way. Pretty convincing win, I gotta say. Perrun is gonna have to do something. I like the one base drop. Definitely did some damage, but just not enough. And Dienmax had a lot of breathing room after that opening because Terran just doesn't have any units. I also like the on location third, just taking a risk there. I think it worked out. It's just, it all comes down to the push. Can you control your army better than your opponent? Alright, so we're gonna go into game number 2. And the map is gonna be homogeneous. So interesting. I don't think we got to see a single TVP on this yesterday, so it's been a while. But if I remember, Double Gate, Dragoon was very strong on this map. And it looks like we're ready to start. Alright, in the top left, we have Dienmax in the color red. And in the mid-right position, we have Perroon. His name is Perro Gringo, so a big fan of dogs. Yeah, who knows? Alright, so Longinist, and this is a great turn, man. It might seem like it's good for Protoss because sure there's no ramp, you can kind of abuse things in the early game. But the double gas base doesn't really help Protoss as much as it helps Terran. Terran can get a pretty easy 4 base. It's kind of hard to attack Terran via ground once it gets set up. So you really have to go into arbiters and recall spam. The terrain is not favorable for Protoss either. High grounds, bridges, even though they're wide ramps. It's a little awkward to tank into a fortified turn. So this is a very strong map for Turtle style. Carriers, on the other hand, are not particularly great. There's not a lot of terrain you can abuse. But we will see. Alright, Gateway and Rax and both gases at standard timings. Nothing spicy happening yet. Dienmax went for a pretty early scout after the gateway, and he went for Zala pressure, but didn't really commit. So we'll see what he's gonna go for. Like I said, double gate is very strong on this map. So we're gonna have a core scout, and we're making a pylon at 15. So that means we're not gonna go for the core zealot. Not looking to put on any pressure with zealot. Just going straight into Dragoon. Now, if it's not 10-15 gate, then we're probably gonna see a second gate on 21. If not, if we're gonna see any kind of pressure from Dragoons. Range right away, even before the Dragoon. Interesting choice. And there's the first Dragoon in production. One Marine not gonna be able to hold. You can see how wide. There's just no ramp. The choke is huge. And we only have one SCV on gas, which is normal. You can see the SimCity was set up for dealing with any kind of Zala pressure. If we were gonna see a second gate, it would be now. But no, it looks like a second Dragoon has been queued up. Looks like Dnmx is just gonna play the opening standard so far. I'm gonna get in and scout. Oh, but hitting at the natural. I think this is just to see if Perrun makes a command center at what timing it is. SCV gonna hightail it out of there. It's 4 minutes. This is around the time when Protoss makes a Nexus. Unfortunately, that SCV got chewed away. We actually have double factory here now. This can be a little bit risky. Dnmx still hasn't seen a command center. Probe gonna get in, and he's actually gonna see the double factory. Gonna block the second factory from making an add-on, which is annoying. And I can't just lift off here though. Oh, just gonna make a vulture instead. And Protoss going up to triple gateway, not canceling the Nexus. Now the triple gateway will allow him to have a lot of units. The problem is he's not going to have an easy way to deal with mines, and this isn't going to be the 3-tank push. It's just going to be early vultures. I feel like Perrun should be halfway across the map though. He should be pushing with the 1-tank and Marines, but because he got scouted, you can see Dnmx is on this high ground. He's ready. And Perrun's just going to play defensively. Dienmax is actually cutting a lot of probes to afford for the defense here, so I like the adjustment from Perrun, just making SCVs, not cutting, and getting a command center. He's already been discovered, so it's very unlikely the push will be successful. Playing mines at the third. You can see the worker count is in Perrun's favor, so lots of pros have been cut. Is that a robo or a 4th gateway? It should be a robo, but it's actually a 4th gateway. That's actually absolutely crazy. Dnmx is really scared here. I feel like he's misread the situation. He scouted Perrun. Perrun isn't pushing. He's probably thinking Perrun is banking up a lot of units to surprise Protoss with a push, but because there's not been a single... Okay, finally scouts with a probe and sees all Perrun's units back at home. Might have even seen the command center. Worker count still in Perrun's favor. Is that a 3rd command center? Absolutely crazy from Perrun. Completely in the dark. Looks like Dnmx gonna trigger one of those mines. I think he wants to take a 3rd Nexus. And this is also crazy. Taking a 3rd Nexus without any kind of detection. Finally, the robo starts. I think he's cutting units and just making probes. You can still see he's at a worker deficit. So, scouting, even though it saved him from a potential 2-fact, it actually hurt him because Terran didn't commit and he way overreacted. Alright, bunker as well to help with the defense of the third, but Terran is going to have a faster third. Already has a worker lead. We have a pretty late armory, but all things considered, this is a great position for Terran. Taking a second gas. And army-wise, Protoss only has a bunch of Dragoons. Not really the composition you want to push into the Terran. Robo's pretty late, so we're pretty far away from seeing any kind of Beaver tech. Even a shuttle to Zealot follow tanks is pretty far away. Need these observers to see exactly what Terran is doing. Lots of turrets being made. Nice turret ring here. This is about as cautious as I've ever seen two players play. So 4 gateways. Finally gonna take a 4th base, and this is a correct call. I mean, everything's late for Protoss here. Terran took pretty fast third. Our army size is pretty small because we're still only on 2 factories here. But otherwise, I mean, this is looking great. He's got a nice position set up. Even has his units in the main. We still don't see a starport. I wonder if he's going to commit to a heavy factory push just off one upgrade from the armory. Dienmax, meanwhile, just making more and more Dragoons. Forge finally. And that should be a citadel. Yep, only 4 factories, so he's gotta ramp up the production any second now, because Terran, even though they're not looking to push right now, he will have scan. He finally does have scans available, so he should scan to see what Protoss actually has. And yeah, we're just going up in factories all the way up to 7 now. No starport. Looks like this is going to be a big push. 3 base, not looking to further tech. I like the mines in the main. This is going to be very good against any kind of potential drop. We, of course, know Dnmx isn't looking to do that because he has very late tech. And this is here the starport. Scanning, sees the additional gateways being added. Dnmx still on 4 bases, not looking to take a 5th anytime. He's getting +1, doesn't have cannons in position at his bases, so he's got to be a little bit careful about vulture movement. I thought this was going to be a 1-0 push, but it looks like Terran just hanging back. Finally setting up some cannons up to 8 gateways. Still don't see any further tech. He has the double gas at the 4th base, so he's going to be at 4 gas. This potentially could just be for High Templars though. Something we saw last game is he went Arbiter and High Templar, but he actually had Storm before he had Stasis. Pretty good saturation from 3rd at main, natural, and 3rd. Looks like we're unsieging some tanks. This is curious. The way he's positioning his units, I think he wants to take bottom right as his fourth instead of top middle. I think top middle is a lot easier because, okay, no, it looks like he's just wrapping around for a push. It's about one control group of tanks, two control groups of vultures. He has several vultures left back though. You really want to bring all your units when you're making a big push like this. And this is why Longinus is a fantastic map for Terran. You can see how easy it is to get from one ramp to the other, but it looks like we're just going to see a counter here from Dienmax and just pulling the probes. There's not a lot of defense here, only mines. There's one bunker, but we don't have any tanks. Terran army way out of position here. What's the reaction going to be? It's just going to be a base trade. Like Terran is not retreating. No, just pushing through. He's going to lose all the SCVs at his third. And he's only going to have maximum 2 tanks. I don't think this counter is holdable though. Oh, but this is just a base trade here. We have High Templars. These are gathering damage. You're going to have 4 storms here. Where are the tanks? Only 2 come out. Oh, this is a lot of storm. Absolutely massive storms here. He killed about 4 tanks. The Dragoons going into the main. There's an Archon as well to help out. One of the problems, I don't think Protoss has other gateways though. There's a lot of gateways. Units are going to be coming out one at a time. Archon is pretty low HP. 2 tanks pop out. There's no Zealots left over. It's potential for Terran to hold if you could just buffer these tanks, not let them get... Oh, no, looks like Dragoon's getting right on top of the tanks. On the other side of the map, we have Protoss just barely holding on. Tanks within reach range of some of these gateways. Only Dragoons left over, but there's no units from Terran, just SCVs. 1 DT out. This could be the hero. Eats a lot of mines. Oh no, and Terran is actually going to retreat here. Maybe potentially go for the 4th base or just go all the way back to his base. Looks like he's going back, but this means now Protoss still has 2 mining bases. None of the production went down. He's going to have a huge army, and even if he cleans this up, in terms of economy, you can see the worker count way in favor of Protoss. Protoss can just retake the natural, retake the 3rd. It was very important to either kill the 4th base or kill the production. Carrying down to single-digit workers here. Good movement from Dnmx. Looks like we're gonna recommit to the attack at the natural and into the main, but Dnmx has had a long time to macro up. He has about 2 control groups of units. And the Zealots can't get right on top of these tanks, even a storm, and you can see how quickly the tanks go down to just 1 storm and 1 round of tank splash. Army gonna get cleaned up here pretty easily. We've seen no production here from Terran. You just can't afford anything. Even a random cannon at the 12 o'clock base. Perrun's just making SCVs like he can come back in this game, but Protoss is doing alright economically. It's not like Protoss is mined out from all his bases. He still has the 4th base. He's retaking his natural. And there's the GG. He realizes the game's over. There's no sense to keep on, and that's going to be 2-0 for Dienmax. That was pretty convincing. I thought Terran had a very big army. Dnmx couldn't engage. He didn't have arbiters. He didn't have Storm quite yet. But he did a good job of just avoiding the army, pouncing on the opportunity to attack, and he actually did more damage than Perrun did to him. And because he kept the gateways alive, because he still had the 4 fates, he won pretty easily. Okay, we're gonna take a short break before we start the next series. We will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're gonna head into the next best of 3. We just saw Dienmax win pretty easily against Perrun. He just had the better decision making in both of the games, and that sets us up with a PvP Tech versus Cruzago, and like someone said, I think it was Sekrum in the chat, this is gonna be spicy. These are 2 Chilean Protoss players who played each other a bunch. They're around roughly the same level. I would say Tech slight favorite, but because of the history they have with each other, definitely going to be a good match here. We'll see. I played both of these players a lot. Cruzago sometimes goes for that double gateway we saw yesterday from Yugo, because it goes to dark. Tech plays a little bit more standard 1-gate robo with the second gate. Sometimes he goes for quick expansion, but definitely more of a macro-oriented player. PvP, it's really about who has the better Reaver control. Sometimes we see players like Hork who work around that and never go Reavers, but have builds that can work pretty well against Reavers and just takes advantage of the lack of experience a lot of Protoss players have against unorthodox openers. We'll see. Now, Cruzago hasn't played in Pro League that. It looks like he played in Seasooon before, but mostly a Ghost League player. And Tech has been consistently in Pro League, even made it to around the 16 once. And you see, PvP is basically both players' best matchup, and that feels right. That feels right to me. South America, obviously the 2 best players are Terra and Dandy. And there's always who's the 3rd best. Is it Ultra? Is it Gold Dark? I think Tech is definitely one who can contest with them. And looks like we are ready for our first match. It's going to be on Overwatch PvP. In the top left, we have in the color blue, CruZa, also known as Cruzago. And in the bottom right, we have the red Protoss Tech. Looks like no early game shenanigans. Something we haven't seen at all with all the PvPs we've seen on this map is the double proxy gate at the 3rd. When this map was on ladder, I can tell you I faced that a lot. Both players just making pylon in the main. Interesting pylon choice for Tech. You don't really want to make your pylon near the mineral line in PvP. It just gets stuff in the way. If you're dealing with a Reaver in your mineral line, for example, you want your Dragoons, which are already pretty dumb units, to have a lot of area to maneuver. Gateway going down for both players. Looks like we're having a scout. You can see Tech actually scouted his main, looking for potential proxy gates. Didn't see anything, and now he's gonna head out. Another build that is not particularly strong on this map is 10-12 gate because, of course, of the long rust distance. And both players going into gas. There's a core from both. Now it's an interesting choice. Do you go for the Zealot, or do you just keep making probes and you cut that Zealot? It's a pretty significant cut if you do go for that Zealot. It looks like we have... We're not seeing it from Tech, but we are seeing it from Cruzago. See, he's forced to make a big cut here so he can afford the pylon. Meanwhile, on the other side, we already see Tech is already up 1 probe. He's not making that Zealot, and this can be abused if Cruzago were to go for something like a second gate on 21. He can go attack with 4 Dragoons and 1 Zealot, and the other player at that time would only have 3 Dragoon with a 4th on the way, and that's an easy way to get a quick victory. Dragoon pops around 310, so we should see both players leave with the probe. You don't want to hang around too long and lose this probe for free. Both players know the timing, so we see them escape here. Looks like both are legitimately getting range. We don't see a canceled range and immediate Citadel from either player. Also don't see a second gateway quite yet from either. Nope, there is a Citadel, so the probe leaves and just immediate Citadel from Cruzago. Now this is a hard build to read. You see a second gateway from Tech. Now, this isn't automatically GG if he only makes a few Dragoons before the Robo. He can still survive even a fast DT like this. We'll see the archive going down. Are we gonna see a second gateway? And it looks like only 1. He's not even making Dragoons. And there's a Robo, so good timing on the Robo. Only a few seconds after the archives. And because it's only 1 gateway, it's only gonna be 1 DT. It's not really that threatening for the defending player. Sure, you like the tension, but the DT only has so much DPS. And also we're seeing Tech attack, so that DT will be occupied dealing with the potential harassment. One Zealot. It's going to be annoying here, but now we have 1 Dragoon coming from the back. This is actually pretty bad. It's targeted. Loses a lot of HP, but this all you can see is helping out a lot. Cruzago also has Goon range, so this is not revealed to Tech that his opponent potentially went for DTs. And with the 1 Zealot, this should be an easy deflection for Tech here. And well, looks like somehow the mischance worked against Cruzago there. It's only 1-to-1 Dragoon, and Cruzago has the advantage. Because he didn't get across the bridge, he didn't see anything at the natural. A big tell. Even if you don't see the Nexus, if you see 1 pylon at the natural, you are already suspicious because you're thinking that is going to be for cannon, so this guy's going DTs. But he hasn't gotten across yet. Robo should be done, and we do have the observatory. Is that a DT already heading into the base? Yeah, it is, but Tech is blocking the ramp, and like I said, it's only 1 DT. The DPS potential is not that high. Tech can even expand here. DT gets 1 Dragoon. Tech is going to retreat. Observer is about to complete. Now, I don't know about this. DT might get several probes here. 1. Say the drill's good. Only 1 probe. That's a very nice drill. Now Tech is going to put on counter pressure. Now we don't see cannons. We only have Mass Dragoon to defend. This can work because of the bridge, but Cruzago also lost all of his Dragoons from the earlier attack, and he only killed 1 with the DT. So he's at a significant army disadvantage here. He also doesn't have another DT out to keep the units occupied. He actually kept his DT at base, which is not what you want to do. You want to keep Perrun occupied, worried about the counterattack, but he left the observer. Okay, no, he's just lagging behind. The observer is coming. It's 5 Dragoons, 1 badly damaged against only 3 Dragoons, and a DT. This cannon seems quite late here. Okay, looks like we're 1-to-1. This should be holdable now. Don't have a lot of Dragoons being rallied across the map, so it looks like Cruzago will hold here. Well, 3-to-1 now. Have units coming out of the gateway. Cannon is about to be done, but great control there by Tech. You can see he found a lot of value out of these Dragoons. Looks like he's going to pick off this last one. Probably retreat here. Looks like, no, not going to be able to escape. We're up to 4 gateways. Tech has a 6 probe advantage, which is a pretty big deal. Cruzago had the much earlier, what's it called? The much earlier Nexus. We have a Robo finally. We have 1 cannon at the front. We have 4 gateways against 2. Tech should not be looking to put on a lot of pressure. He's expanded and teched quite significantly behind us. He loses 1. Getting the full scouting information, sees the Robo timing, sees the gateway count. I don't think he's going to commit to be aggressive. I think he's just going to play defensively. No, he's equal on tech. Don't know if he realizes he has an economic lead here. Don't really know about that cannon. He already has detection with observer, so just playing it safe. Several Dragoons here for Cruzago, finally taking that second gas. This is a nice position for tech. Ooh, even gonna go into DT drop. Now, DT drop, I'm not a big fan of it in PvP. Protoss will have detection basically. It's very strange for you to just get an outright kill, but it does have the potential for follow-up high Templar drops at the natural, which is a lot bigger of a threat here.
Thanks for BSL in Spanish.
So you have a $13 tip from Manu. He's watching the Spanish catch, which you and Dawid are both casting. Oh, looks like we have some movement. The shuttle hasn't been spotted. It's at a precarious location though. Tech fighting on this high ground. It's 5 Dragoons. Let's see how many he can actually kill. Already killed 2. Looks like he's gonna kill 3. Nope. No, he's gotta kill that 1 little Dragoon. But the shuttle sneaks in. There's nothing in the main. It has been spotted though. An observer just pops out. So perfect time from Cruzago. Let's see what the reaction is like with the probes. I mean, even if you react, the DT's one-shot. These are... Ooh, looks like another great drill, only loses 2. You can see Tech has not skipped a beat with the probe production. He's had a very healthy 50 probes. I think he should actually stop now. You don't want to overproduce probes in PvP. You stay on 2 base for a very long time. Those high Templars are rallied. I think he wants to do a follow-up storm drop. This could do a lot of damage here. Cruzago has to be careful. He's investing a lot into harassment. He lost those 2 DTs. He has a couple high Templars in the shuttle. He's gonna have a lot of gateways soon, but this is when he's most vulnerable. He only has a couple cannons. The storms will help out. Oh, just barely misses that shuttle. But I've been in this scenario a lot, and when you're in Tech's position where you're way ahead and you have the potential to do even more damage, yeah, you gotta add cannons. You know your gateways are quite late. I would even make a pylon in front. He's gonna make an Archon. I don't know about this. You wanna use the storms. Maybe he feels the attack is gonna hit too fast here. Looks like Cruzago, his army is split. Kills the observer though, so 1 DT will hold off this massive push here. You have speed zealots. Gonna have to pull the probes, I think. Looks like his own zealots are coming out. Pull the probes quite yet. Still has some units. There's no DT. 1 DT again will hold the push. He really did a good job at sniping the observers, and there they are. There are the DTs. There's a lot of Dragoons left over. Tech moving several probes here. 2 DTs on now. They will help clear these Dragoons, pushing back. The shuttle is still at the natural. Maybe Storm isn't done. Maybe that's why he went for that immediate Archon. And here we go. We're gonna go for the storm drop now. The reaction is not there from Cruzago. About 10 probes went down. Absolutely massive damage. You could even potentially storm drop the main. I think those high Templars were hanging around for long enough that he has it. That's Gets another decent one. Gets about 3 probes. Looks like he's gonna get a couple more. Cruzago does have a 3rd base, and he still has the army advantage. But the reinforcements from Tech are very close. Army advantage still in favor of Cruzago. Gets the observer. Oh man, and with the Dragoons, he can just micro back. This is the comp you want to see when you need to do damage with an attack. Just a lot of Dragoons, something you can micro, take advantage of the range. It's getting on top of the last remaining cannons. I feel like Tech, he just needs a few round of units to hold on, but Cruzago's not giving them a chance. You can see units streaming across the map. One cannon does go down. We have 3 Zealots arriving from both sides. Looks like a 4th from Cruzago. But with the cannon just finishing, I think he will have enough to hold here. Oh, just barely. In the meantime, Cruzago has built back up some of that probe. Those probes he lost to the harassment. He's getting pushed back pretty firmly now. And let's see. He has 3 Nexuses. Let's see, the shuttle can't just storm drop again. I think within 15 seconds you'll have enough for another 2 storms, and Cruzago is going to be forced to retreat here. Tech has a huge gas bank here. His army composition is going to be looking pretty scary. He's up to 8 gateways. Actually, this is 9 gateways. But he should be looking to take a 3rd base pretty soon. He's not aware that Cruzago actually has a 3rd base. And there's the, oh man, more storm drops. And you can see, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but he actually retreated the probes into the main and not the 3rd. If you see the probes heading to an angle you don't expect, you might get a sense that the 3rd base is there. It is going to be scouted now. I think that's an observer, or maybe a Dragoon or Zealot heading towards the 3rd base. He finally sees it, and now I think Tech is going to feel like he's on a timer. He needs to get something done. He's going to take his own 3rd base. Cruzago is slowly catching up, though, in supply. Probes are about basically even. I feel like Tech is ahead here, but he needs to expand. Pretty soon he's going to be mined out from his main. Natural is going to be pretty dry as well. He does have +2, which is nice. He also has Archons, a lot of them being morphed. He had a huge gas bank, which is completely gone. He's up to 4 Archons. These are very beefy units in PvP. The smaller the armies are, the more powerful Archons can be. Looks like Cruzago is matching the Archon count, though. And he's also getting cannons. He knows he's up a base. I like that he's leaving an observer behind his natural. And the main has mined out for Tech. Because of all the harassment, we actually see Cruzago still has that main. Even taking a base at top right. Army sizes are about equal. We finally see the big transfer to the 3rd from Tech. It's like he's managing. Okay, almost gets that 1 Archon. That would have been huge. Double Forge. We're working on 3-1. Cruzago's upgrades, on the other hand, I think he only has +1. So working at 1 armor, but that +2 hasn't started, so he's gonna have a pretty significant army disadvantage. One thing in PvP, army upgrades aren't as important because what really determines the fight is the splash. But we have another storm drop. This one not as impactful, still gets something like 5 probes. Loses a shuttle and both 5 Templars, but those were definitely worthwhile. And there we go. We do see finally top right being taken. That could have been killed, but Tech, again, doesn't know it's there. He's finally going to scout it. But now it might be too late. We have the army from Cruzago here. Ooh, looks like, is this a favorable engagement for Tech? The army from Cruzago was split. Decent storms from both sides. Looks like Tech had a massive advantage in this engagement. He fought with his entire army. Cruzago's army was split. He's taking control of this high ground. He's gonna catch the rest of the army now. Not the best control from Cruzago. Army was all over the place. You still have all the Archons from Tech alive. And these are very strong Archons with +2. Just punching through all those Zealots and Dragoons. It's like top right has been established, but the army advantage for Tech is massive now. And now Tech can take his own 4th base. Archons are all pretty low on HP though. Gotta be careful not to overcommit. Looks like the top right base will be killed. And this is not what you want to see. You don't want to see Zealot streaming in, eating Archon attacks. You actually have +3 already for Tech. The 1 armor won't really help the Archons, but it will make his Zealots and Dragoons a little bit beefier. One probe going down at bottom left, and that will at least ensure for the meantime that that base will get set up. And if they're on equal bases, Cruzago should have an advantage because he suffered more economic damage, but because he has such a weak army in comparison, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to do anything. Very difficult to come back from a deficit in terms of army like this in PvP, but there are ways to counteract large Archon armies. You can go more heavily into Dragoons. You don't want to over make High Templars. You want your own Archons as well. You don't want to be at a splash deficit in PvP, and that's what we're looking at here for Cruzago. Maybe mixing in some DTs if you get a couple key observer snipes. So we have a storm incoming, huge storm on top of the Archon and like 6 Zealots, softening them up. Pre-fight storms are very impactful in PvP. Looks like we have a much better spread from Tech yet again. And Cruzago's army is kind of split. Hard to tell with all these Archons. Looks like Tech's Archons were pretty badly bruised from the earlier fights. This fight is looking a lot closer than anticipated. We have almost all the Archons go down for Tech. Like before dying, that Archon was able to kill the Observer. That was about an even trade, with which I think was good for Cruzago. He had a huge disadvantage. Problem is now his main is about to mine out, and Tech during that he took bottom left. He's gonna have a fresh source of income. Upgrades are still in the advantage of Tech. He has 3-1. Cruzago has 1-1. I think he's gonna have 2-2 any second now. Should be looking to expand now that he won a fight. Tech is ready to put on the pressure, but he's attacking through this very narrow choke. 1 random Dragoon from Tech on the top side of the map is going to see the 4th from Cruzago. This 4th is way more exposed. It's completely wide open. It's on the low ground. Bottom left and top right bases, of course, are better. And we are closer to Cruzago's rally. The army sizes are actually about equal. No splash from either player. We have 1 DTB mixed in. Except we have a shuttle with 2 High Templars. This could potentially go to the 3rd base. I think he might want it in this army though. Cruzago pushing back Tech. Looks like the shuttle goes unscouted. Well, now we have 3-2 upgrades versus 2-2. Not a huge difference now. And here comes the shuttle. A lot of cannons here, but the ones out should tank fire. And here come the storms. Huge storms there just before some of those probes were transferred to the 4th base. And, well, we're in a position where Cruzago has an equal amount of bases, but his new base is more exposed. It doesn't have gas. and he's also suffered more economic damage. Army composition is about equal. We don't see a lot of Archons, not a lot of High Templars either. Oh, huge storm there. This is something you see in PvP. If you have vision of your opponent's army, and if you can get a land of storm, that storm could potentially do hundreds of damage before the fight. So you go into that fight at a huge advantage. And we see one Archon from Tech. The longer this goes on, we're not technically out of stalemate, but the longer this goes on, the better it will be for Tech. He has access to an extra gas. That means his composition is going to have more Templars, more Archons. You see mostly Zealots streaming in. We have a good Dragoon base, but we're lacking Flash units. We only have 1 or 2 High Templars here from Cruzago. Working on 3-3 upgrades. Heck, even getting shield now. Shield is fantastic in PvP. Of course, every unit has shield, and it looks like we're ready for your attack, but again, looks like Tech isn't a better. Concave looks like his army isn't fighting altogether. One control is being left behind. Cruzago got a favorable engagement, 2 stars. You can see how many Zealots are left over him on the bottom side. Another storm, but that one's kind of a whiff. 1 Archon left over for Cruzago. He has a couple High Templars. They might not have storms, except we have 1 flanking. Dragoons doing a good job not taking damage from these Zealots. Another whiff of a storm here. But this looks pretty close. Looks like we have a big rally coming from both players. Tech able to save the majority of his Dragoons though. And now he has a huge army advantage in this third, which is kind of exposed here. Under risk of going down. Those storms were just not great storms for Cruzago there, and that's the GG. Very close game. Could have gone either way, but Tech with the victory there, and he goes up 1-0. Zero, Quark has confirmed he would love to join. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break as we set up for the next match, and I'll be joined by Quark. Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm being joined now by a co-caster in Cork, a PvP expert, and someone who has a lot of familiarity as well, not only with the matchup, but with also the specific players in this group. So tell me, what do you think Tech, Cruzago, Dienmax? What do you think is the best of these three in particular PvP?
Tech has the better historical record. Tech, for a few years, was getting every single BSL Pro League he would be there. He'd be hitting like 2300 on ladder, no trouble every season. But I've not heard as much of him lately. I know he's still playing for, I think, DM in BWCL, but I don't seem to hit him on ladder. Whereas CruZa and Dienmax, maybe it's just a time zone thing, but when I'm laddering, I run into them all the time at like 2300. So, and they're active, they're good.
Alright. So, from what I remember, historically, Tech has the more historical success, but Dnmx has been in Pro League before Cruzago. Well, and Tech did win that first game, but it was very tight, very close. Could have gone either way. So we'll see what Cruzago can bring out in game number 2. And then, of course, the winner will face Dienmax in the winner's match. So a lot of PvP set up for the remainder of this group.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hype. I like PvP. A lot of people don't seem to, but there's a lot of strategy that goes into PvP, and also the micro is harder than people think it is.
I know you in particular do not like going Reavers.
I hate them. I lose them every time, and it's such a critical unit. If you lose your Reaver, you've lost the game.
Yeah, if you ever invest in Reaver, you gotta think it's a shuttle that's worth 200, a Reaver 200, 100, plus every individual Scarab costs money, and if you don't get, I don't know, several shots off into Clump of Dragoons, it's just not worth it. So in high pros that have high level of control, you can see them win games with their Reavers, but when they don't have the high level of control, they'll lose games with the same Reaver. It's a unit that for one player is a lot more value than what it costs, but for another it'll just be completely worthless and a huge investment that did nothing. And looks like the map is going to be nil sulfate, and we are ready to start.
So we have Tech as the red Protoss at 12 o'clock and CruZa as the blue Protoss at 8 o'clock. And the first thing that comes to mind about Silphid is it's a flat map, which for PvP makes it very interesting. Now, a lot of people think that the optimal PvP build on flat maps is 1 gate Robo, 3 gate Goon. But one thing that we saw Bonif do a bunch of times in previous BSLs is I think you can go like 10 gate, 21 gate, and you can hit a Protoss that's going 1 gate Robo into 3 gate Goon, when you have exactly like 4 goons and they have, or 5 goons and they have 4 goons and like 3 more building. And if you hit that exact like 5-second window, you start killing their goons before their next 3 arrive, and you just cascade into a snowball. So 2 gate goon actually beats 3 gate goon on flat maps, which is crazy. But only if you hit that exact timing.
But one thing I don't think we'll see is 10-12 gate. We could potentially see it. Yesterday we saw a lot of it with Gosu Dark, but that just seems like a Gosu Dark thing to go for that build every game.
CruZa likes it.
Gate, I don't think it's that strong on this map because of the fact that there's no ramp. So
you are correct. Yeah.
If we are going to see one, I think it will be the 21 gas variant. We're not going to see one that goes too heavily into Zealots. But we could see that. We see Tech is queuing up another probe. He hasn't made that gas. This could just be 12 gas, but it looks like
it's going 2 gate, I think.
Yep, just going to be a 2 gate. And this gateway positioning is ridiculous to me. It's so close to the choke that the goons from the outside can shoot. How do you get units to have a good concave in this position?
I don't think you can, but I mean, so the reason I thought that we would see a 2 gate, despite the fact that it's a flat map and 2 gates not considered good, is because they love their 2 gates in South America. They especially love the Bonif 2 gate that I've been promoting a lot. It's really strong, and if you have a tiny bit of lag on your side to kill probes, it will be devastating. So And CruZa 2-gates me all the time. It's actually quite frustrating because I 2-gate him as well, but the 2-gate doesn't work very well against 2-gate. So this is a very interesting spot where both players have gone 2-gate, because the 2-gate can't do any damage at this point, so the first player to either go gas or Nexus actually ends up ahead.
Yep, we see Cruzago has a scouting advantage. He's not taking advantage of this by going 1 Zealot into gas. He actually, I think, did queue up the additional
Yeah, he's got
Zealot.
to feed Zealot into gas. But we see that Tech has built a third pylon. A third pylon is a big commitment here. It says he's going 5 Zealots. You don't go a third pylon if you go Nexus or gas. Third pylon means nothing but Zealots. CruZa at this point should steal his gas and go battery. That would be a kill move. But he's missed the opportunity. Tech's taken his gas. I'd like to see 1 probe on gas by CruZa just to get a gas advantage. You don't need to overmine the gas. You don't need to get loads of it. But if you start mining it slightly before your opponent, you'll always be ahead.
Yeah, and these gates are within range, so Tech also know what's going on here. And no advantage for Cruzago. This 1 Zealot is actually pretty exposed. He's got to be careful.
I think the probe scout is a huge advantage for Cruzago because he'll be able to get that probe back into Tech space. Tech will have to go either Forge or Robo because he doesn't know what's going on behind this. Whereas CruZa can just hard counter whatever Tech does. If Tech goes Forge, then CruZa can say, okay, well in that case I'm just going to take an expansion.
Yeah,
if Tech goes Robo, still take an expansion because you know it's never going to be DT. This is a huge advantage for CruZa. And Tech appears to be pausing his probe production. Never mind.
Well, I don't know about moving out. This
yeah.
Whoever attacks here is at the disadvantage, so it's kind of like Ling versus Ling. Don't really want to move out. If you're either player, just wait for Dragoons.
Yeah, once the Goon's out, he'll be able to push the grenade back. I don't know why he's doing this at all. This is just... It's 1 against 2 every time. It's not helping him. And he doesn't need to do this. He's lost the Zealot for no reason.
And now he has a couple badly bruised ones, and there's more coming. He should have just waited for Dragoons. He's going to have Dragoons at this fight faster. I don't really know why he panicked. He's not going to get contained.
Coming home is making me upset. The Scout Probe is like the most important unit in the game right now for CruZa. It has to be inside Tech, and now we can't get the Scout. Because if PvP, if you know that your opponent isn't going DTs, it's so much easier. You just either have 1 more Goon than them, or you just expand slightly faster than them. But this is... it's frustrating.
Cruzago wins a probe on 4-5. Lets Zealots into his main, so now Tech also has scouting information. And he actually has 5 Zealots versus none. They are all badly bruised, so good control will kill them down. But you can see he might lose a probe here. Looks like good.
Probes get the Zealot. Avenge of the probes.
Doesn't kill a single one. Somehow those 2 Dragoons and probes just dealt with the 5 Zealots, no problem.
But now Tech has seen inside CruZa's space. CruZa hasn't seen inside Tech space now, so the position is reversed. We're going to see CruZa has to go Robo because he doesn't know what's going on. Tech built a Forge, but he doesn't need to go cannons.
He didn't get all the way in to see if there were any pylons potentially to the side, but I think he should be pretty confident. I think he is actually making a Forge though. Tech, I don't think has range. Cruzago does, but with 2 Zealots, oh no, neither player has range quite yet.
I believe Tech rushed the Forge because he needed to be ready to do a cannon expand in case it was DTs. But once he got the Zealots in, cannon expand was no longer happening. He doesn't need the quick cannon. He just needs to build Dragoons. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's just pumping Dragoons because he knows DTs aren't a threat.
Now, this isn't really a high ground. Dragoons always hit. I think you don't have vision. But 6 versus 4, the 2 Zealots.
I think there's a range advantage right now. Tech's range is about to finish, but about to finish is not finished.
With the 1 cannon, I think he'll be fine. But Tech is actually getting +1, which is interesting to me.
I quite like +1 in just open Goon war maps. Like, it does make a difference. If you can actually finish the +1, which is not always the case, because if you're getting Reaver pushed, you won't finish it in time. But it does make a real difference in just open Goon fights.
I don't really know why Cruzago is being aggressive. He doesn't exactly know what's going on.
He's got a nice arc.
Players have range.
I like aggression here by him. He's got a very nice arc on these Dragoons. You just need to be making sure he's focused. 5 Dragoons, 2 shots gets a Dragoon kill. He's not doing the best job of focusing though. Like there's a few Dragoons here that he could one-shot and he's shooting anything but those.
Oh man, that's 3 in the red Dragoons. He's got to pick these off before they can heal.
Yeah, and this is a good moment to build a shield battery to your tech. And again, tech just gets that scout, and again, that's huge.
Well,
these Dragoons are hunting the red Dragoons, but they're not going to find him.
Yeah, that's a red Dragoon there.
Oh,
he's not clicking, he's not looking. And I think
if you watch, so go ahead.
Go ahead.
If you watch a Bonif first person, one thing he always does right before Dragoon fights is he just spam clicks through them, and he finds the red ones. It's every time he does that, and it's beautiful to watch.
And well, that's quick victory for Tech, and he goes and wins the series 2-0. And unfortunate there for CruZa. He definitely had his chances in the series, but better control from Tech in both games of fights.
Yeah, I think the control for Tech was certainly better. CruZa with his pushing out into the Zealot arc when he had Dragoons coming was a mistake. And also I feel like CruZa could have played it a little bit more hard countery once he saw that Tech was going 5 Zealot into gas. If you're CruZa there, you can go 1 Zealot gas, then add 2 more Zealots. Then if you see that your opponent's going for a third pylon, he's not going into his gas, you can add a battery and go straight into Goons. And you're never going to get broken.
You can gas them as well, force them into an awkward situation where they have to go Nexus. You can go Nexus yourself and then have better tech. And it would have been a very comfortable game from him, but instead, he didn't do any of that, didn't take advantage of his scouting information, and that's up with Dienmax against Tech and Perrun versus CruZa. But before we go to the next match, Perrun lost his first match against Dnmx and then did not show up for any of the remainder. Just basically abandoned the tournament. So unfortunate there. So that means for the rest of the day, we're only going to have a couple PvPs.
Again, I quite like PvP. I think it's underrated as a matchup.
I actually like all mirror matchups. I don't have an issue with any of them. I know a lot of people from every race basically enjoy their mirror matchup the least of their matchups, but I don't have an issue with PvP or ZVZ or TVT. I think they all have a lot of strategy that goes into it. Some of them, like ZVZ, are a bit shorter and it's more control oriented, but all the matchups have some kind of balance. We haven't seen, well, at least I haven't seen a lot of Dienmax in BSL, but he did look pretty good in PvTs against Perrun. And Tech, of course, very familiar with this style of play. And like you said, historically, I think he's the favorite here, but I still think it's going to be a close match.
Yeah, there are a lot of maybe not so well-known Protossers in South America that are surprisingly strong. They're ladder warriors, but if you ladder at the right time zone, you'll run into them. Like Ugox from yesterday, Dark from yesterday, Dienmax and CruZa, as we're seeing, Tech obviously, Ghosty Dark. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I've actually played Ugox a lot. It's probably I don't know. I played him maybe like 50 times, which is more than anyone from NA and more than anyone from Europe on ladder. And he's a very sneaky player.
You certainly have the style.
He'll take corner nexuses, and then when you scout them, they already have cannons in place. You're like, oh crap, I'm actually not ahead. Like, he's that kind of player. So, very tricky player. Can't underestimate him. And yeah, just there's a lot of talent in South America that goes. I guess in the North American European scene, they're just not as well known.
Yeah, Ugox is the kind of player where if you saw a replay of his with the names blacked out, you'd know it was Ugox.
On Tech and Dnmx PvP, I think we're about ready to go into the game. Looks like we're just setting up. We are ready. The map is going to be Longest, and I don't know why it says 4-player map, but 3-player map.
So yeah, it's another flat map PvP. So yeah, it's going to be very dependent on the scouting and the timings. It's flat map PvP is just a completely different kind of game. Robo timings can lose you the game. Probe cuts are much more powerful on these maps, but they have to be probe cuts at the right time. You can't just not build probes.
Right. Oh, the screen is
I can see. So yeah, we have Tech as the magenta Protoss in the top left. Dienmax as the yellow Protoss at 6 o'clock. And Tech opening up with an anti-mana pylon, which I always a good decision, especially on these older maps that have the double mana pylon spot. You can never ever get a mana pylon there, so it's conservative, but I like it.
It's interesting, this map compared to Sylphid. A couple key differences. One, the ramp choke is a lot wider, so it's harder to keep scouts out. And another is that not only is a nat and main chokes pretty accessible to your opponent, you don't have a high ground. So if you do ever go 2-gate on this map as well and it doesn't work out, and then you're at a deficit facing ranged dragoons, it's very difficult to hold. So we'll see if either player goes for a 10-12. I don't know. I also don't like it on this map.
Yeah, but again, it's the South American meta. It's I saw yesterday we had the Bond of 2-gate from Ugox, and I mean it's a very strong opener.
I actually like his. He played 10-12 against Ghostwing, and he did what I like to do, which is Nexus. But then he didn't go Shield Battery at his natural, which is extremely risky. Because if you ever take a poor fight, then it's you just get snowballed and you lose pretty easily. But he somehow managed to hold. And looks like we have Core, then Tech, and Core also from Dienmax.
And both players with the safety zealot, which is what I like to see. Although Dnmx could, in theory, have cancelled his and stolen a probe advantage.
The 10-21 gate I actually do like on this map quite a bit, especially if you go for Core Zealot and your opponent doesn't, because then that one timing you were talking about, you suddenly have a Zealot on top of the extra Dragoon. But we'll see if we see that. It's one of those builds that's good if it's unscouted, but like I said, on this map it's very difficult to keep the scout out.
Faster Dragoon range for Tech, and that will make a big difference. He's got about 5 seconds there, but that 5-second window, he could get a lot done. You can take off the shields from a Dragoon, no trouble in that time.
We actually had Dienmax send out his one Zealot.
I like this. He should be able to get something done.
It's like 2 hits on 1 probe, messes up there and hits a pylon. Good control so far from Tech, since he's pulling away all the damaged probes.
Locking with the probe too. Moving shots. Is he the probe going to get the kill?
Looks like the Dragoon just barely got it, but the probe is definitely going to.
The kill steal there from the Dragoon.
Whoa, this one probe. Okay, Tech is aware though. Nice awareness from him to realize, yeah, this probe's somewhere in my base.
It's Dienmax queuing up a second Dragoon before he builds the gateway. He could have built that gateway. Oh, sorry, the rover. He could have built it considerably earlier, in my opinion. But it's fine.
This is where, okay, this second gate is actually quite late. I think it might work on his favor. Okay, no, second gate from Dnmx is there, so it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, when you Tech's second gate's his defensive second gate, in my opinion. He's just getting it so he makes sure he doesn't get run over by a 3-gate Coon timing. But he's not doing it to get timing of his own.
Looks like we're going to have a pylon at the choke. This is always very good at holding off any kind of attack. There's a faster range from Tech, like you said, but by the time he gets to the Nat, although he does have an opportunity, he has the extra Zealot. But just going to play defensively here and hold this high ground. Again, the opportunity to attack is still there. It's only It's gonna be 3 Dragoons versus 3 Dragoons and a Zealot. This game could end right now.
At the very least, he can take a free probe.
Oh, good control, avoiding the Zealot fire, but you can see the Dragoons from Dnmx are actually very low already.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Tech is just he's getting a lot of value out of this. The game isn't gonna like Dnmx won't leave, but this damage is gonna be something that's gonna do.
If he leaves right now, he's already done so much damage. Can't lose any of these Dragoons. Because now he has a 2 Dragoon advantage. He got the full scout.
Picked up an additional probe too. He's now up 3 probes. He got that. His scout probe came home. Dienmax has lost a scout probe. He picked up a second probe just now. This is a very comfortable position for Tech. There's not really anything he's afraid of.
I'm not really sure why he's going Observer. He already scouted that it is Robo. Oh, now it's 4 Dragoons. And these Dragoons that pop out are going to be very exposed. Reaver's going to come out any second, but this Reaver takes a while to load. He might even get this Reaver.
He's just getting the better focus fire. I mean, that was 3 Dragoons from Dienmax against 4 Dragoons of Tech. And Tech had some damage on some of his, but it didn't matter. Tech had the better positioning, the better focus fire.
Looks like one of these Dragoons is going to get trapped, but already so much damage done. It looks like another couple Dragoons arriving here for Tech, just so much damage done.
Yeah,
and this all comes down, just 1 Zealot advantage and better control. Oh, whoa, this one random Dragoon, I guess the rally was to the right side, but even if the game can go on from here, Dnmx has already lost so many probes, so much mining time. The Reaver Nexus has gone down for Tech, and Tech should be going Reaver himself as well.
Yeah, it's a 9 probe deficit. I mean, this game's done. You can't recover a 9 probe deficit on a flat map. Both players are just going to build units, but Tech is going to build more of them.
Well, he's not letting up. The Reaver should pop out on him. I mean, I think he'll be fine. Well, it's taking a while, and again, the Dragoons get on top of it. Oh man, this is the perfect timing for Tech yet again. 2 Reavers that didn't shoot a single Scarab.
Yeah, it's a sad game for Reavers. This here, he's splitting his damage pretty badly. He's got 1 Dragoon doing nothing. The 2 Dragoons there were hitting different Dragoons. So this is a surprising miss macro by Tech, but ultimately it's not actually going to make a difference. He's just way too far ahead.
Yep, and I'm surprised Dnmx hasn't GG'd here. And the thing is, from Tech, this wasn't even an aggressive opener. Like you said, the second gate wasn't fast enough to be aggressive. And with that, he takes a pretty quick victory there in game number 1. And like his games against Cruzago, just had better control in all fights.
I wasn't a huge fan of Dienmax's second gateway timing though. His robo timing. He had a Dragoon queued up and then didn't build the robo for quite a while when he could have, only to still have the money to add a second Dragoon after he built the robo. He could have optimized that a little bit more neatly, I think.
Yeah, and those seconds are crucial, as we saw. If the Reaver had been out a few seconds earlier, he possibly could have held without taking catastrophic damage.
So 1 gateway robo is on a flat map not a great opener unless you're doing the probe cut version where you go 1 gateway robo plus 2 gateways. But on a flat map, especially when you throw away your first Zealot for scouting information, you have to just be asking yourself, how am I going to hold my ramp? Because of course on a flat map you don't have one.
And in particular this one, you can see the choke beam between the main and natural is absolutely massive. It's not even like Sylphid, where at least Dragoons will have a tough time pushing through. But yeah, just questionable decision making from Dnmx and even more questionable controls. And Tech just showed he had the spear control and took advantage of that pretty quickly. We'll see if game number 2 is going to be any longer.
I would expect so, unless it's Sylphid, just because flat map PvPs are exactly as we saw. They're kind of quick, kind of brutal.
You have a couple options. I think Butter's also flat map, but at least the rush distance is longer. Overwatch, okay, so we are going to have a ramp map, and we are ready for game number 2.
Yeah, I think if we saw the same openers this game as we saw last game, it would favor Dienmax. even though the opener obviously hurt him last game.
Alright, in the top left we have Tech in the color red.
Bottom right we have Dienmax in the blue. And yeah, it's a two-player map, which means that both players know where the other one is. They have to be worried about proxies. But at the same time, they can scout each other reliably. So you can always find out if it's a proxy pretty quickly by sending out a scout probe.
Do you have a lot of experience on this map?
Not much. This was played a little bit before I came back to BroodWar. So I kind of missed the Overwatch era.
I actually think this is probably one of the 2 or 3 best Protoss maps just ever. It's great against Terran. You can abuse carriers pretty easily. 2-player map's not that great in general, but this is one of the few ones where Terran has a few difficult choices. The 3rd is far away, the 4th is far away, and then carriers are very strong. Recall is also very strong. A lot of area you have to defend. Proxies are pretty strong as well. So just a worrisome map for Terran in general. And then PvZ, this is not that hard of a map to split. So
yeah, I can see that.
You would really enjoy this map as a Protoss. And we have the Gateway Scout from Dnmx. Tech going for a slightly later scout here.
I missed the gateway timings. One thing I noticed yesterday when they were playing this map is Dark had the bottom right spawn, which should have the optimized mining because you get the right side mining. He should have been able to do a very quick gateway, but his gateway was on like 8 seconds late just because he didn't place it on time, which in PvP does make quite a big difference because that means your core is going to be that much later, so your goon's that later, so the probe is inside your base for much longer.
And I'm looking, Dnmx not going for the Zealot, and Tech, I don't think he is either. He did get the
Tech is going for the Zealot. Yeah, I prefer Dienmax's choice. He's going to get that extra probe, and also he knows that he doesn't need the Zealot. He knows he's safe because he's now 17-17. He did. He just Dnmx did probe Zealot, Tech did Zealot probe. Tech's build is slightly better, I believe.
Yeah, I would have gone no Zealot here. You know your opponent's just going core.
But
it
can
be annoying. It can be annoying if you get Manor Pylon, but if you watch out for that, then your opponent can't get that Pylon down.
Tech should have the faster Dragoon here, which will allow him to get the probe out of his base slightly quicker. Although Tech is somehow down 2 workers, which is inexplicable. Because there's nothing that he's do at this point in the game except build workers.
Because he went core, Zealot, probe, and then Pylon. So his Pylon was actually on 17 instead of 16, and he was supply blocked there quite a bit.
That's a uncharacteristic error, I would say, because in the first 2 minutes of the game are pretty well mapped out. You shouldn't be screwing up any part of those.
Alright, so second Dragoon. Probe's being saved. You don't want to lose that probe to the Dragoon just for free. And one thing that's okay, we're going to see Robo from Dnmx. But one build that's actually pretty good is going Nexus off just one gateway right away. It's hard to get punished by any kind of 2 or 3 gate with the bridges in your favor. They have to go the long way around, basically.
Yeah, this based on the Robo positioning looks to be just I was going to say a Nexus expand, but Dienmax adds a second gate, so he's going to go for the aggression here. Tech, same. I thought this was going to be like a 41 Nex opener, but it's not.
Yeah, I actually do like the 1 gate Robo Nexus as well, because if you place that Robo close to ramp, the Reaver will arrive at your natural pretty quickly, and you can defend any kind of early pressure. But both players just going 2 gate or 1 gate Robo, second gate. And again, I'm looking at the probe deficit from Tech. It was 1 earlier, now it's 3. This is quite significant already. Looks like the scouting probe at least gets taken down.
Yeah, I don't know about that scout timing. That's there are always going to be 4 units there. He hasn't seen if there's a unit from an extra gateway. What you want to do is scout right as the units from the second gateway would start to be there. So you can go, wait a second, you have an extra Dragoon. There's only one way you could have made that, and that's if you added gateways.
And we actually have shuttle before observer. I wonder if this is going to be
Tech
shuttle.
hasn't built a probe in like 2 minutes. Tech was 3 probes behind. Dienmax lost a scout probe, and now he's 5 probes behind.
He's very committed to some kind of push here. And yeah, this is shuttle observer into Reaver.
Yeah, this is incredibly all in. Dnmx should be able to hold this. He's got that very narrow bridge, as you keep mentioning. He's got his own 2 gateways. He should, with a good arc, have no difficulty here.
He did go shuttle first, but as long as we get good scouting information from Dienmax, he should defend this pretty easily. I always wonder in this situation, do you go double Reaver to defend, or do you go Reaver and then shuttle if you're the defending player? Because if you're the defending player and you don't have a shuttle, you need at least a shield battery, if not the shuttle as well.
Tech's probe cut is not good at this point. This isn't probe cut for timing. This is, had he built a 21st probe, it would have paid for itself by now. So this probe cut isn't making him stronger, it's making him weaker. Right, this is a significant cut.
Ooh, the observer's actually, oh my.
Very nice.
This is catastrophic now for Tech.
1 hit point on that observer too. That observer's now going to see the push going, unless Tech hides it very carefully. Okay, he's not going to see it. And Tech's going to avoid the bridge. He's going to go the long way.
He's going the long way around. I mean,
he's going to catch the shuttle.
Okay, he knows what's up. The shuttle. Now he knows what's going on. And this is perfect for Dnmx. He's going to have time to react. He already has a Reaver out. He's actually making a shuttle.
He's saving up money for next. Never mind, he just wasn't spending it. He's up 10 workers after losing. This is too all in by Tech. This cut is too much.
Reaver's exposed though. He's gotta pick it up with the shuttle. Is he gonna be able to? Looks like he's not.
That Scarab is just not gonna ever fire.
And
okay, up the ramp.
Dnmx dead. I just think Dnmx
that
is
Dragoon
dead
AI.
yeah,
he's just.
I mean, that couldn't have gone any worse for Dnmx. His Reaver Scarab wasn't effective. His shuttle rally, as the fight started happening, I mean, if he had 2 more seconds, I think it would have held pretty easily.
Yeah, he might have wanted to just back off and wait for the shuttle at that point. Also, I don't know why he's not added more gateways. At this point, he knows it's a panic scenario. He needed like batteries and gateways. This is a real pity for Dnmx, I think, because if he watches this replay, he's going to look at it and go, my build order was better. At that timing, I had enough to hold. The Scarab just didn't work from that time, and the shuttle was just a second too late. That's really unfortunate, I think, for him. I'm not surprised that Tech won, but that's not how you want to lose, I think, if you're in Dnmx's position. You don't want to lose with a better build order.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he was definitely in a better position. But again, Tech, a better control and some unfortunate AI there for Dnmx. That means Tech has advanced first out of his group, which again, no surprise there. I mean, another thing was the Observer, right? He had the Observer advantage, but it didn't matter. I can't imagine.
He repositioned his army once he got the visions. I mean, I liked it. He got the Observer and he used it. It's just his Reaver wasn't on his side that day.
Yep, and it sometimes comes down to that. If your opponent has better Reaver than you in any fight, then the game could just end quickly.
Also, I think he tried to focus. Sorry, go ahead.
Tech's build was very all in. If they,
I'm good to keep going.
I think, yeah, just let's go to the next one. Okay.
Yeah, I was surprised by Tech's 20 probe count. That's not the that's not how you optimize that build. It didn't help him. He could have been on 24 probes and the push would have hit the exact same timing.
I like his choice of, I mean, his build was optimized in the sense of the timing with the shuttle. So Reaver, but yeah, he cut a significant amount of probes early, which didn't really affect the timing. But again, sometimes in PvP that doesn't matter. If you have the better control, you'll win even with suboptimal strategies and builds.
Have you seen Dienmax's win percentage?
Yeah, it's almost 5,000 in PvP. Insane skill. So Cruzago against Dienmax, and I think this is actually impossible to call. These are very similar in skill players from my experience in playing both of them.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm playing CruZa, I'm more afraid of the Zealots. If I'm playing Dienmax, I'm more afraid of the DTs. But in neither case am I expecting a like a standard opener.
I mean, the South American meta is basically its own thing, and of all the Prodosses from there, if it's Cruzago or Dnmx, I guess Tech is the one to play the most standard. Cruzago, the 10-12 is kind of his pet build, and like you said, it can be very strong, especially if you go for the 1 gas variant. I think you yourself prefer 20 gas instead of 21.
Bonnet prefers 20 gas as well now. I've convinced him.
Oh, interesting. It's actually split.
Yeah, I did a bunch of studies on it, and yeah, the 20 gas makes a big difference because you want to go range after your first 2 Dragoons, but at the same time you can't get the 3rd and 4th Dragoon at the exact same time if you go range on a 21 gas, which means that then your gateways end up staggered, and your gateways can't be staggered if you want to hit your 6 Dragoon timing.
So that's a pretty strong argument already for 20 gas. Alright, and are we ready? Looks like we're ready, and it's gonna be Overwatch again.
Yep, looks like we're going. So yeah, we have Dienmax as the yellow Protoss in the top left, and CruZa as the magenta Protoss in the bottom right. I'm already looking for that right side mining optimization, and it doesn't look like CruZa's top probe should be a little bit more optimized than it is, fortunately. It's not a huge deal, but it will add a second or two to your gateway.
I know you want to mine the 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 7th patch, and then the top half patch you can usually return cargo, and it'll improve the mining efficiency of the top patch. And if you could just do that for the first minute, everything will be slightly faster, and it'll really streamline your build. Now, going back to the 20 gas, I actually never thought about it, because when you're going 10-12, and say you're going up against Core Zealot, you're already going to have a probe advantage, because they have to cut for that Core and Zealot at the same time. You're going to make a small cut yourself, but it's much smaller than the Core Zealot. So it's not as important to get that extra probe right away. You don't really need to go up to 21 supply. But it makes sense to get the faster gas, have another small probe cut, and the deal, you only need to deal minimal amount of damage with the 3 Zealots to make them worthwhile. And then if you have the slightly faster core, the slightly faster range, it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, the argument for 20 gas is conclusive. It definitely seems like the better build.
I mean, you're after that 6 Dragoon timing. You have to hit them when you have 6 Dragoons at their natural, they only have 5 Dragoons. It's no good having 5 Dragoons and a 6th one 5 seconds behind. That's not going to help you. It has to be exactly 6 at that exact timing. So on this game we have CruZa with the early scout, Dienmax with a much later scout, both players going into the core. It's basically mirrored at this point, although CruZa seems to have taken his gas late. His gateway was also, I think, 5 seconds later. Given that he has the right side mining, I feel like he either split badly or just hasn't really optimized, because he is just a little bit later.
Well, you gotta remember CruZa also got the earlier scout out. And looks like both players are gonna go into core. Zealot. No player landing a critical manor pylon either.
Yep, very mirrored so far. I would, if this was a standard PvP, I'd expect the openers to be one gateway Robo or one gateway Nexus, then Robo. Like, both players are going to be putting the Robo on the high ground near the ramp. Both players are going to be looking to be the greedier player. You're not going to be looking to be the more aggressive player on this map because this is such a defensive map. But we just saw Tech do 20 probes, 2-gate Viva timing, while Dienmax also did 2-gate Viva, but a more defensive variant. It's South American meta, I think.
Oh, this probe actually hung around a little bit too long. I don't think it's going to be able to escape. And we actually saw the pylon being made by both players. Now, 1-gate Robo Nexus is very strong on this map, especially if you hang around long enough to see that your opponent didn't make that second gate. And it's a pretty big advantage versus 1-gate Robo and then a second gate. And it looks like both players are going for 2-gate, but this is a quite delayed second gate. Okay, kind of a standoff here. It's like gonna retreat. Cruzago has a 1 probe advantage from that kill. He was able to save his mining or scouting probe. Otherwise, it's basically the same build.
I like that Goon Scout from Dienmax just because if you're going for a DT expand, one of the things you'll generally do quite early is put a pylon at your natural, because you need to build a pylon anyway, and the natural pylon allows you to go citadel, so it allows you to go forward cannon at your natural. So just having your goons on the map and just taking a look, you can get quite a lot of information from this. Now what he's not going to see is that it's a 3-gate goon all in, which again, this is not the map to do it on, so maybe this is a so bad it's good situation. But Dnmx should have no trouble holding this.
Okay, that's a good trade. He gets 1 Dragoon. He loses a lot of health on 1, but as long as he keeps it alive, that shield will regenerate.
I would never go 3-gate goon with no Robo on this map. This is because your opponent can just stay at the top of their high ground, or even if they hold the bridge, they hold the bridge. You would have to have the sickest read that they were going for no DT, and also like they had to have the sickest read that it's a 1-gate expand. Anything else, you're just going to lose with this. The only thing you can beat is a 1-gate expand. I'm expecting to be proven wrong just because that's the kind of thing that happens when you're casting, but Dienmax should be able to hold this with no micro at all. Just leave his units near the ramp and they'll hold by themselves.
He has more units and he has a bridge in his favor. Another thing I want to mention is 1-gate Nexus into 3-gate actually beats 3-gate straight up on this map, because they have to spend the extra time going around and you'll match their production. And here we go, looks like he's going for it, but again, he has a goon deficit. He has to go across the bridge. He needs to Zelda at the front, Dnmx does, but you can see easy deflection. And now, what does Cruzago actually do from here?
And there's little he can do. I mean, he's going to have to try and expand behind it because there's nothing else. The build just didn't work. And I question whether it was ever going to work.
Yeah, Cruzago actually took...
His strategy now is just to hope that it's not DT.
He took probes off gas as well. But we actually have a shuttle from Dnmx. So, I mean, Dnmx is in the dark. He only sees goon pressure. This is hard to tell if it's exactly 3-gate or 2. But because his opponent is continuing to put on pressure, he should be a little suspicious here. Like, why is this guy being so aggressive? Now we have 3 Dragoons flanking.
This 3 goons should just die immediately. CruZa's just going to do it. So Dienmax is going to do exactly this. He's going to move back while the stutter firing, and the 3 goons are just for free. Beautiful.
Good control there from Cruzago, from Dienmax, and the Dragoon count is even. Just has to retreat up to his high ground now. He's gonna have Reaver control, and he can expand once this Reaver is out. The shuttle, I don't really know about making a shuttle, but he didn't exactly know it was 3-gate. That probe that he scouted with, it actually died before seeing any vision at the net.
Oh, Reaver's out. This is surprisingly close. I'm a little worried for him.
Oh, that Reaver actually didn't shoot there.
Is CruZa gonna do this? He's gonna do this.
Something happened. He should have had more Dragoons there. It should have been 5 versus 6, but it was only 3 versus 6.
And also, I mean, he's got more money so that he can spend here. He should have added a 3rd gateway. But CruZa never should have got off the ramp. He should have had his Dragoons placed side by side on the map and then added probes as needed. Or just a battery. I mean, he has so much money, he could do so much here. This is a bizarre game. This is just South America like in a single game.
This is standard. The build that you don't think is going to work ends up working, and...
There's not even a Reaver coming. He's not started a battery. He's desperately holding on with probes. He's not building a battery. I would love to say that I'd never lost a CruZa like this, but I've lost a CruZa like this many times. This is just what it's like to play CruZa. He attacks his own robo. This is just exactly what it's like to play CruZa. Your observer goes into space. You're like, wait a second. You have no robo. You have no forge. You have nothing. All you're doing is building goons. But yep. But you lost.
Well, it worked out for Cruzago there. I was also dubious that this build was going to work. It looked great. He caught the 3 flanking goons. I guess he stuck and hung around that fight a little bit longer than he should if he lost 1 goon.
Yeah,
it was still 3 versus 3 with 3 on the way for Cruzago, and you figure, okay, he's going to have 5 Reavers on the way. He'll be fine. But that 3 versus 3 turned into 6 versus 3. He broke the ramp. He had 5 Dragoons left. The Reaver Scarabs, they weren't terrible, and I think what happened at the end is he had 4 very clumped Dragoons. He drops the Reaver, but the Reaver doesn't shoot. I think that 1 Scarab would have actually saved him because they probably would have killed all those Dragoons. And then in the panic, he never did the right things, getting a shield battery, probably getting another gateway. He was really just focused on defending the few Dragoons, but it happens to everyone. He panicked, he wasn't thinking color, and that's
one thing I just wanted to quickly note was that Dragoon flanks in PvP just don't really work. Because what will happen is exactly what Dienmax just showed, where the Dragoon flank comes in, and so you just start stuttering towards the flank, and you focus them down, while the main fight, your opponent's Dragoons have to start trying to follow you. You always have Dragoons in range because you're moving towards the flank, but your opponent's main army doesn't always have something to fire at. They have to start trying to stutter after you. It's Dragoon flanks generally just result in your flank dying.
Yep,
you want to be flanking
from Dnmx there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that when he destroyed the 3 flanking goons, if he just gone up his ramp, that would have been GG. He kept on trading the goons. It's if my opponent keeps trading goons to me, then that's, I think, a sign that they know they have more gateways than me. It's anytime my opponent is confidently attacking into my goons with theirs, either they're an idiot or they know something I don't. And it's generally safer to assume they know something I don't.
It looks like we are ready. It's going to be Neil Sulfid. The players are ready. And in the 12 o'clock spawn, we have Cruzago in the color purple. And in the bottom right, we have Dienmax in the color yellow. Another map, no ramp, Sulfid. We did see a match earlier, and if you can deny the scout, I think 10-21 is such a strong build on this map.
It is, but I mean, I don't know how useful talking about build orders is even going to be, because we've been talking about flat map builds and defensive map builds, and I mean, these players don't care. CruZa goes, okay, this is one of the most defensive maps out there. Seems like it's time for a 3-gate goon. On Longina, Dienmax was like, no, this is a 1-gate robo map. It's fine. Against Tech, CruZa was like, yeah, this is 2-gate. That's what you want to do. I mean,
the 2-gate from Tech was even more bizarre to me because he made his gateways next to his choke.
He created a nice little smaller choke for his Dragoons to walk through as they approach the opposing Dragoon arc.
Alright, so on this map, what do you like? Do you like Gateway Scout? Do you like Gas Scout? What's your preference here?
On this map, I scout out my second gateway because I only know one build in PvP, and it's the 2-gate. But and I 2-gate every map. It's just it's an unbeatable build. It's not good on flat maps, but on the other hand, it's the best build in the game. And both players seem to agree. This is a 2-gate game.
Alright, so now say you're a Cruzago here. My go-to is either go Nexus off one zealot, or just gas off the one zealot, and then you
Yeah,
can take
one zealot
advantage of the
gas.
gas.
And then you only put like 1 or 2 probes on the gas. You don't need to overmine the gas. You don't need to rush into a core because you still need to hold the zealots. But you go 1 zealot gas, which is exactly what he's done, and then you go 2 more zealots after.
I like this. Don't want a gas deal though, because you can't really afford it, and you want to alert your opponent of what you're doing.
Yeah, you don't need to win in multiple different ways when you're in this position as CruZa. Your strategy for winning is just going to be, I have a slight gas edge, and you can ride a slight gas edge quite a long way in a PvP. And Dienmax immediately takes his own gas, so Dienmax is no longer going to be doing a free zealot timing. CruZa needs to put all 3 probes on gas the moment his assimilator completes, because there's no zealot timing coming.
He also saw the timing of that gas as well. Scout is still alive. Very important. One thing that's key here is because you know your opponent has very late Dragoons, you need to keep this probe alive for as long as possible. You can't relax with this probe. This probe is a huge advantage. If you lose yours and your opponent doesn't, that's a huge advantage for your opponent. So
we're seeing core versus 3 pylons, so CruZa at this point actually needs to build a battery, I think. Just if he adds a battery, he's safe. But there will be 5 zealots coming at him. And like once you see the 3rd pylon in this situation, you need to be thinking, okay, how am I going to hold 5 zealots? He can't hold them with Dragoons because they won't be ready. If he wants to hold them with zealots, then he's already going to be down all that money he spent on the core and mining that gas. So I think a shield battery is a strong choice here in CruZa's position, because you don't want to overbuild zealots. You want to rush straight into Dragoons. You want to rush at Dragoon range. That's your advantage. That's how you take map control. But at the same time, you don't want to lose to 5 zealots before that kicks in.
yeah, so this is interesting. We're only seeing 2 zealots move out, and 4th and 5th zealot are on the way, but ooh, looks like this probe. Okay, not gonna use it. What you can do, I mean, if it's 3 versus 3, or you have 2 more on the way, what you can do is you can actually drill the choke, and you can mess up the AI of these zealots with this probe. You can also use it for a fight like this, and trapping the one zealot is actually huge.
Yeah, he just gave that zealot away for free. I'm surprised though that Dnmx only pushed out with 2 zealots, and they've actually gotten more than I was expecting. He built 5 zealots, but he had one of them chasing a probe that it was never going to catch, 2 lagging behind kind of far. This is this should do much for Dienmax, but I'm hesitant to say it won't do anything because I get proven wrong.
Yeah, so here it's actually tricky. If you're the Protoss with the Dragoons, you actually want to retreat your zealots and just micro the Dragoons.
Yeah, the zealots have got nothing done there at all. They just blocked the Dragoons. He could kill infinite zealots with his Dragoons at this point.
Looks like he just doesn't want to take any damage, and he'll be fine. He gets 1 Dragoon in the red. He's gonna use his zealot to scout, which is actually pretty important. You need to see, is this guy going Dragoons without range and going into a Citadel? But no, looks like he's gonna see all the pylons. Sees a Dragoon range on the way, sees a lot of Dragoons.
Yeah, the problem for Dienmax now is that his gas was later, and he's always going to be down gas. So he's cutting he's cutting Dragoons to grab a Archives here. But if CruZa does any pressure at all, CruZa's Dragoon range is going to be faster, and it's a flat map. CruZa need to be scouting with his Dragoons here. You need to be just if you have a Dragoon counter advantage, and he knows for a fact that he does, because there's no world in which he doesn't. He took his core like 30 seconds faster, he took gas faster. You have to be pressuring with your Dragoons. You might not win the game with them, but what you will see is what the opponent has. You want to see what they block your Dragoons with.
Especially
in this situation, it'd be nothing at all. He'd just win. But
he knows he's going up against a guy who went 5 zealot. He just killed all the zealots. He has an army advantage. He should be using it to put on some kind of pressure. Even if you don't get the kill, like you said, you are going to get key information. And well, the Archives is already on the way. He can
he will see 100% that Dienmax has no Dragoon range, and that will tell him everything he needs to know.
Dienmax actually did get Dragoon range, though. That's the one difference.
I don't believe it. I think he cancelled it.
It was like 70% done.
I think he cancelled it.
Yeah,
He's got 4 Dragoons. He's building 2 DTs off of late gas.
But because he's going for a 3rd gate, I think his plan, his follow-up is Mass Dragoon. And well, let's see, he's going to retreat back. He's going to see the DT.
Yeah, he sees the DT immediately. This is why you get to do this. It's just he gets the early warning. He already has the robo and the observatory coming. He'll be able to block anyway, but he would have been able to buy extra time if he needed to.
The other thing is, if he had gone earlier when he had the 5 Dragoons, he would have been able to put on a lot of pressure before this DT was even out. Fortunately, he goes slightly later. He's not going to take any losses here. The Observer... Is it out already? I hope it's out already.
Okay, yeah. I was about to get worried for him. So yeah, that DT does nothing. And Dienmax can't actually hold this. If CruZa builds a second Observer, he just pushes across the map and wins. Citadel, interesting. So he's going to go for a DT of his own.
Now, is this 3-gate follow-up? So he's going to rely on the 3 gateways, 4-gate actually, to hold any kind of counter pressure. If Cruzago had gone, he would have been able to bust him. But because he's playing cautiously and he's going for the Citadel behind, I don't think he's ready to move out here quite yet. That one DT that survived is actually at the 3rd base. Both players going into Nexus here. Cruzago definitely has an advantage.
Yeah, I mean the Archives should seal the game. Dnmx is just hoping it's not Archives. He says, I know you built an Observer, I know you're building all these Dragoons, I don't think you're going to go for DT, so I feel like I can just get back into this with Mass Dragoon. And CruZa is informed on the South American meta. He goes, no, you always go DTs. Even when you go Observers, you go DTs.
And whoa, what is this? This is a significant amount of probes. Duck doing nothing. If I'm Dienmax though, I'm wondering why this guy isn't putting on any kind of counter pressure. I'm actually even curious if there's an Observer in his base, because if there's not, then you start thinking, did this guy cut Observer? Why would he do that? And the only reason to do that is because you're going quickly into DTs and you need the gas. So this would definitely be triggering alarm bells for me.
Oh, no DTs.
What? This is even more
mind-boggling. A shuttle and no DTs. I mean, he had this. If he just built the DTs, set them across the map, they would get probes kills before the Observer killed in. Dienmax does have half a Robo, but half a Robo does not hold a DT rush.
So I sometimes do this where I go 1 DT only, and I go quickly into High Templars, knowing that, okay, this guy is definitely going to prepare for DT. I will have map control, maybe he has a cannon, he can't move out. But this is shocking to me. No DTs whatsoever. You rush into Archives and you go into Storm Drop. This is something I've almost never seen.
And the pressure comes now after letting his opponent expand and go 4-gate. I mean, this is some kind of anti-timing.
You know what? If I'm Dienmax, I'm thinking there's 2 Reavers in this shuttle.
Yeah, I mean, why would there ever not be 2 Reavers in that shuttle? He's been sitting back building something with his Robo for the last like 5 minutes. You haven't seen Observers in your base. It's obviously 2 Reavers. 100%.
Oh man, now the DT is getting in and the probe is going to get into the main and see everything.
The probes get the DT. Oh, is that shuttle going to die though? I'm worried about that shuttle on the map.
Dnmx
He saw the shuttle. You don't want to be out there.
This kid still do catastrophic damage. Looks like he is ready. And this shuttle critically doesn't have any Zealots. Only High Templars. Yeah, looks like he's still going to unload. Okay. Very nice Storms. I think that got 10 probes.
I believe that. I mean, CruZa lost a bunch of probes to a DT and he's up 12 workers. So, yeah, I believe that got 10 easy.
Okay, so we're at 4 gates versus 3.
Oh, now he goes DT.
Yeah, nah.
I really enjoy watching South American games.
Dnmx has a huge army advantage. I don't think he can really capitalize on it because his opponent's going to have Storm and it's hard to attack. But one thing about Sylphid is you actually have an anti-concave at your natural. The aggressor actually has a big advantage here. He has a lot of Zealots. They are slow though. If you have enough Dragoons, you can beat this composition if you just avoid the Storms. That's a nice Storm though from Cruzago.
Yeah, CruZa taking this fight very comfortably, I think.
There's a lot of Dragoons left over, but Cruzago hasn't lost any of his. Should be able to micro forward now and pick off any damaged Dragoons, and I mean, pretty easy hold here for Cruzago. Archon also tanked a lot of damage from the Dragoons.
I like the slow lots too. I think that if your opponent's going speed lots, slow lot Dragoon is a really good counter because their speed lots are just going to rush into your slow Zealots, but it's still going to be Zealot and a Zealot. The speed makes no difference in that situation because the speed helps the enemy Zealots get on top of your Dragoons, but if you have your own Zealots, you'll just meet them halfway. You have plenty of your own buffer. I'm a little bit worried about CruZa's gateway count. I would like to be seeing... Actually, you know what? I'm not worried. I didn't realize there was another one to the left there, but...
I mean, 6 and taking a third in PvP is something you don't see that often, but he did just win a fight, so taking the third then is absolutely fine. Meanwhile, he also has a tech advantage.
I don't know if I like the double forge. I think double forge is something you do when it's a very defensive map. This map is... I go double forge on Ascension, because Ascension's always going to go 200-200. But I don't know that I'd go double forge on Sylphid.
Yeah, and 4 DT drop. This is a huge investment. This has to do critical amount of damage to be worthwhile. You're basically a Nexus snipe.
He knows that CruZa has cannons in his main, because he saw one with the probe.
It's only the one. One cannon is not going to be enough, so it makes sense that he's going for 4 and not 2. Or, I mean, this is risky though, because you're investing a lot, and it's gonna come down to if he can get the Nexus or not. Because if he doesn't get the Nexus, this is not worth it. And the army is way out of position here. No reaction from Cruzago quite yet.
Yeah, as you say, the army is very out of position.
Yeah, this is where if you're Dnmx, you want to be pouncing on this opportunity, sending units to the third base.
And that's
he's not
exactly
going for the
doing.
Nexus, though. He's not going for the Nexus. He's just killing probes and units.
But CruZa's army is not moving. CruZa moved some of his army, but not all of it. He didn't move an observer. Oh, this is so. These TTs are just doing so much damage while the observer slowly approaches. Okay, now he's got an angle on that Nexus too. On that third Nexus.
Oh, but he actually left the majority of his army. Just one.
Yeah. Oh, his Zalog got stuck by the goons and the storm. Here comes the storm. Those goons are just so fat. The goons are just the worst.
You have a Kiner High Templar here from Dienmax, but it's not really going to accomplish much. DTs, I think, have been dealt with. So Cruzago did a good job to not overreact. Oh, we actually left 1 DT, and I like this. I like splitting off 1 DT to the side. And we have a storm drop incoming to the natural, so Dnmx is definitely making the plays he needs to come back.
Oh, good reaction there, though. That was quick.
Now the immediate reaction only gets something like 3 probes. The DT in the main is key here. I don't think he's going to be looking for that.
But he attacks the cannon, so he immediately gets alerted about it.
Why are these probes hanging around? Are they going to fight it?
I guess so. One thing that's going to be impactful is the upgrades. We're going to see 2-1 versus 0-0 very quickly.
And now, I for one, I don't think upgrades are super important. Okay, it looks like we have at least 1 in PV. I think it really comes down to the engagement angles you take, and if you have more splash landing near your opponent. But on a map like Sylphid, where it's very wide open, upgrades do actually make a big impact.
Yeah, it's 12.5% more damage per attack upgrade, which, I mean, is significant. If you get 2-0 against 0-0, that gives you 25% more damage.
Here we go. We have Dnmx's army's kind of split. You don't want to attack like this, and we have Cruzago with a much stronger comp. I think he has more High Templars here. Even has a 1 Archon, and he has 2-1 critically, 2-1 against 1-0. Let's see. Nice storm.
That was a very nice storm, yeah. Let's see the High Templar storm in response, though. Oh, Cruzago's... So, Dienmax's army just... He realized he had a much smaller army there, and he tried to retreat, but he took a lot of damage getting out of there. He's going to take more. These 2 goons on the left, they are not going to find a safe way home, I think.
We have another storm. He needs a couple more energy. But he's just losing too much of his army before he gets these storms off.
Not a fan of those cannons at the Mineraloni either. I feel like you don't want to be building like defensive PvZ cannons in PvP because it's all going to come down to the big fight. You build 1 cannon just to alert you if there's a DT, but you don't build more than that.
I think we had more harassment at Cruzago's naturally. We went down significantly in probes, but it's not going to matter when you have this much of an army advantage.
Yeah, this game.
So Cruzago, I mean, I questioned some of his decision making, but he definitely made it work out both games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this game he just he played the 2-gate better. He got a 2-gate, scouted after 1-gate, which is a very early scout for 2-gate, immediately found his opponent, and then he went 1 Zealot gas. Once his opponent went gas 2, he put 3 probes in gas instantly. That was just the correct way to play it. He had the gas advantage throughout the early game. It allowed him to go faster dragoons, faster dragoon range, and get an observer. It's just, if you get that big gas lead in a PvP, you get more.
Yep.
Your tech is faster, your tech is better.
And even though he could have ended the game with fast key, he went high Templars. It didn't end up like he could have won the game outright, but he ended up winning anyway. Just had better fights. The first big fight went in his favor, and then even though Dnmx did some things to counter harass, get back in the game economically, he just never had good enough army composition. And with that, Tech advances first out of his group. You have Cruzago second, Dienmax third. Perrun, I actually don't know what happens now. Does he gold or goes to leader? He's just banned for abandoning the tournament, basically. Okay, so Perrun has been banned for simply not wanting to continue its group matches and not really having a good reason to do so.
Looking at the players that are advancing to the South American tournament, I mean, all 3 of those should be in that kind of tournament. They're all 3 of them good players. Tech first, CruZa second, Dienmax third. That's a perfectly reasonable result. This is group has gone. I think, well, Dienmax might be a little bit unhappy, especially with that first game against CruZa. But CruZa's a good player.
Well, that means we have 5 Protosses and Terror advancing. Tomorrow's group is going to be 3 Terrans and 1 Protoss, and then the last group of 4 doesn't have any Protoss, so we have better race balance as this goes on. But yeah, that'll actually be all of today's cast. We missed 1 best of 3 because of Perrun's decision to not play on, but that'll be all for today. Thanks, Quark, for joining. Always nice to hear your PvP perspective. Oh yeah, for sure. And here are all the Patreons who have been supporting BSL. If you want to support, any amount helps. You can see in the $100 tier, we have Star Lover, Anthony Chen, Martin Hartmar, Striker Zero Sum, Robert Groot, Flizzardo, Cuz, Tupacalypse, Nicholas Schuler, Christian Eddington, LML, Lingenpup, Niantic, Quark, and so Quark, even yourself, is supporting on Patreon, and a lot more in the 10, 7, 5, and $2 tiers. Everyone in the $10 and above tier will get access to all the replays from BSL events, and of course the main sponsor, OptiMonk. Just check it out. Main sponsor this BSL, no longer having esports one, so OptiMonk is doing a fantastic job at supporting BroodWar. And as you can see, for just $2 a month, you can support BSL on Patreon. Basically a snack you can toss Zero's way, and that'll help out. And yeah, we're gonna have BSL tomorrow, Thursday, basically this entire week and next, and the one after. Everyone, please tune in. And again, Quartz, thanks for joining. Will you be around for tomorrow's cast?
I will be, yeah.
Alright, so hopefully see you then. I'll be joined by Kark again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, that's 5 Pacific, for Group C of the Latin American round of 16. And I think that's all for today. Kark, do you have any final words?
No, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.